The owners of some of the illegal smoke shops that were closed down during Mayor Adams' Operation Padlock to Protect are suing the city, claiming the administration's crackdown on unlicensed sellers is unconstitutional.
What we need to find is the appropriate balance in our society between these compelling wants. The want to close down the stores and the want to also protect the constitutional rights of the folks involved.
The class action lawsuit filed in Brooklyn Federal Court argues it violates their due process rights. Jeffrey Hoffman is a cannabis attorney and legalization activist. He is not representing anyone in this case.
We have to balance in our society what we think is more important, right? The punishment of the crime, regardless of how we got to that punishment, versus the constitutional rights that we are all supposed to have. That tension happens in about every part of our society, and this cannabis issue is just another one where this is happening.
Well, two wrongs don't make a right.
For that joke, you should only drop dead.
Well, in many videos, we have discussed how there's been a injustice in the courts around here, whether it's on the East Coast, on the West Coast, North, South, East, West. And it's not only when you hear stories about the former president and Alex Jones and stuff like that. There are those out there, like you and me, that are being either held in jail or have been prosecuted not properly in there. I mean, we tout back to the Mercedes Carrera trial that is going on that hasn't happened yet. And that's probably going to be going through the summer again. You're going to go into a 6th year with this situation. 6 years in jail. 6 years. It's already violated the Constitution. You cannot hold someone that long without their day in court. Even though they've gone in and, they said, well, we're going to push it this way. We're going to push it back, because you push it back. Give them bail, let them bail out, and let them, mount a defense, whether they're guilty or innocent. Remember, it's innocent until proven guilty. But it seems like a lot of these courts have it in reverse. And also how certain law enforcement have been handling certain situations. Here in New York, we have a major problem with the cannabis rollout. And we have a ton of illegal cannabis on the street. And you say, well, how can it be illegal? He said, well, this is stuff that basically is grown elsewhere, transported to New York, and there's no licensing behind it, even from the grow center. We've heard from places like California, even Maine, that we're hearing that they're like illegal Chinese growers that are basically, they're growing cannabis without a license. Who knows what they're putting in there? Because they are China, as far as the country, is responsible for the fentanyl problem that we're having here in the country recently. Of recent late, all the people that have died, the countless of people who have died because of fentanyl overdose, and nothing's being done about it. Nothing is being done, and on some occasions they're doing the wrong thing. That they would violate certain rights just to appease voters because, you have the election around the corner. So we have this report from the New York Post that there is a lawsuit forthcoming. And it is a challenge on the crackdown of unlicensed New York City pot stores. And you say, whoa, wait a minute, aren't these guys illegal to begin with? You're correct. But even though you may be guilty to the situation, you have your due process. And that's what people don't realize, is that there is, whether you believe they're guilty or innocent, it's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But the thing about it is, also you have to remember from from the investigation and arrest point of view, there are certain things you could do and there are certain things you can't do. And it seems like what we're finding out is that the New York Sheriff's Department might have just violated the Constitution via Kathy Hochul, the current governor. And probably the Mayor Adams involved in the situation because, he's touting the situation, oh, we've shut down this and shut down that. There's another article out there, and that is blasting. There are people who have gotten licensing and they've been screwed. Because they're going to be paying a lot more out of their pockets. But we're going to read on to this first. A group of unlicensed New York City smoke shop owners claimed the Adams administration crackdown on illegal cannabis sellers is unconstitutional, according to a new federal lawsuit. We're going to the federal on this one. The retailers argue that the city's sweeping raids of illegal pot shops, which have left hundreds of stores across the 5 boroughs shuttered for a foreseeable future, are a violation of their due process rights, according to the Wednesday filing in the Brooklyn Federal Court. And the thing is, you remember this, and I said this again, innocent until proven guilty. We don't know the reasons why. All we know is that they say that they've had illegal cannabis. How was this done? We don't know. All we know is that they were shut down. That basically they just padlocking on there. Was there a signed warrant to the situation? We don't know. From what's been told, is that at occasions it hasn't, and that would be a major situation. They may know. Let's put it this way. You may know your next door neighbor could be a drug dealer, and you say, "Oh, I know he's a drug dealer." And the cops know he's a drug dealer. You can't just go in there and say, oh, we're going to arrest you because you're a drug dealer. There are steps that have to be followed. When you have to investigate the situation. You can't just take to the face value. They say they have the merchandise there. The old thing where it says, you can't use that evidence in court because basically you did not receive that evidence properly. Let's read on. The class action lawsuit is the latest legal hurdle that the city may have to face in a long-standing battle to shut down dubious dispensaries amid the state's botched rollout of legal marijuana sales. Since 2022, Adams has fought for a citywide cannabis crackdown and was finally granted permission to take action with the state's Operation Padlock to Protect plan push as part of Kathy Hochul's executive budget proposal. The plan includes a cannabis emergency rule that enables the city's sheriff office to conduct inspections of business selling weed without proper registration, license, or permit under New York State cannabis laws and shutter them that same day. See, you have a situation where you say that, well, it's an emergency. You can shut anybody down under that. See, you could say, well, he has cannabis in the store, let's shut him down. You have to have evidence. You have to have the proper trail of the evidence. You have to have a court, a judge to sign, a warrant. Not to say, well, we're going to shut it down because we know that the drugs are there. You can't do that. You can't do that at all. The case will be dropped every time. Legal cannabis remains the right choice for our city, but to those who choose to break the law, we will shut you down, Adams said in a May press release. So far, the operation launched last month has seized over 10.4 million products and issued over $23 million in fines. Have they collected the fines? Have these people been in court? No, not really. We know from the OCM they have not, from stories earlier, that they have not put to these cases into the court of law, that they have been delayed, or dismissed. We've discussed this before. But the cannabis sellers are bearing the brunt and are being stripped of their constitutional rights, they claim. The lawsuit asserts that allows the sheriff office to immediately close and seal businesses suspected of selling pot without a license violates the owner's due process rights. Though the shop owners are granted a hearing within 5 days of the being ordered to close, the plaintiffs argue that the sheriff ultimately has the final say on if the shop will close permanently or not, according to the lawsuit. Now, remember, let me put it into this perspective, okay? Not all these stores that have done this are smoke shops. Some of them are bodegas. Now, this, from time to time, and this is from someone who was in the cigarette wholesale business, you've had bodega owners who have sold untaxed cigarettes. Have they been closed down for that? No. They're given a fine, a day in court situation, a hefty fine, and basically told not to do it again. And they close the second time, the fine goes up. Then, you go through the process of the place being shut down or loss of the licensing, which in most cases they lose their cigarette license to sell cigarettes and also to sell alcohol too if they're selling alcohol. Shutting down the place and ignoring the rights of ordinary people is not the way the system is supposed to work. It is wrong, said Lance Lazaro, the Brooklyn attorney who represents the plaintiffs. Allowing the sheriffs to act as a judge and jury is not the way the system works, and due process has been ignored, he argued. The suit also notes collateral damage that has been brought upon innocent business owners, citing spa and bike shops that were effectively shut down when the NYPD padlocked the gate that he shared with an illegal dispensary. See, there you go. What they're shutting down is they're not only shutting down one business, they're shutting down multiple businesses. Adams' team continues to claim their victory over the cleaning of the city's weed scene. You're not cleaning it up. You're only pushing it to another place. His deputy mayor of communications, Fabian Levi, celebrated these achievements on social media X, writing at New York City mayor's open padlock to protect has already confiscated millions of dollars in illegal products, issuing tens of millions of dollars in penalties, sealed over 350 illegal cannabis smoke shops. 350. Think about that for a minute. There are about several thousand more others out there. Last count, some would say it's about 4, 5, 6, up to 8,000 throughout between New York City and New York State. The Adams administration has been clear that the purpose of Operation Padlock to protect is to close down illegal cannabis and smoke shops, to protect New Yorkers and a better support the legal market, allowing justice impacted and other legal cannabis businesses owners to thrive, said City Hall spokesman Liz Garcia when asked about the lawsuit. With over 350 shops sealed thus so far, we have made progress to protect our communities from dangerous illegal products while helping to create a thriving legal market. Legal weed sales for the year are expected to surpass 200 million. Wow, what happened to the billion? Because they said we were supposed to make over $1 billion this month, according to the State Office of Cannabis Management. I don't see how they're going to be making that money. I don't see how they make it, because there isn't that many places to get legal weed. And the thing about it is, remember this. Remember always this pattern. If someone has it cheaper down the block, they're going to go to the cheaper place. Guess what? That's the illegal shops. They ain't going to pay tax on that. They don't pay for tax. A lot of people buy untaxed cigarettes. Think about that for a minute. If people are okay to buy untaxed cigarettes that doesn't have a tax stamp on it, what's going to stop them from buying illegal cannabis? This is the reason why. And then the warnings were there. There are other warnings that were also put there to Governor Hochul's team when it comes to this. You tell people, it says, well, we're trying to bring, help back to the minority communities. You want to help the minority communities, get them real good jobs. And we're talking really good jobs. Remember, people like, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez pushed Amazon out of her district, that there was going to be great jobs coming into that part of the city. She pushed them out. She said, "Oh, we don't need them. It's not going to help the community." Well, talk to the dry cleaners, the bodegas, the restaurants along your strip there that would have gained money from that. That would have brought revenue into them. But they don't think about this. They think of all the politics. And now I know, people don't like Amazon but it's another business. They have rights also. Like so, whether you agree or disagree to the situation when it comes to felons, when they're doing something illegal, they have their rights. This is the same thing when and I bring it up many times. This movie, Reversal of Fortune, about Klaus von Bülow. If you haven't seen the movie, it's a very good movie. There is a line in the movie that basically, a student was arguing with the lawyers, saying, why do we need to defend him? We know he did it. He says, you want to know why we're defending him? Because the people did not go by the law. The family hired their own prosecutor, their own police force, their own investigators, and gave whatever evidence they felt to the district attorney. You can't do that. Now, and they said, the other line was that, today is Klaus von Bülow. Tomorrow it could be the shop owner on the corner that doesn't have the money like von Bülow. Guess what? That just happened. That just happened right there. Whether they're guilty or innocent, it's innocent until proven guilty. You have the New York Sheriff's Department going out, again, judge and jury. They need a court to padlock that down. No, they call it emergency on it. If it was such an emergency, you would have gone to a judge. A judge would have seen the situation. And the thing about it is, it may have not been approved by a judge. Think about that. This is what happens. And the thing is, getting to the other article from the city, cannabis license blasts Hochul for disastrous rollout as touts for new era for industry. She's trying to do a reboot to the situation. But you have situations where her own people, even herself, had ignored the predatory loans, the lack of funding, inflated costs, and understaffing at the OCM. You have the guy who runs the OCM is leaving. He's resigning. Because the governor criticized the job he's doing, and she blaming him. No, it goes to the top. This is the thing, this is the things that basically the repeated ignored alarms to the state that said there are major problems. They took out the predatory loans that are out there that people cannot afford to pay for. The guys that are opening up these cannabis shops are taking loans to run this business according to the state. And we had the article before. We talked about this last week. Those loans are outlandishly high. I mean, they didn't really go into a full research. They could have gotten a better deal, but they didn't. It's some Chicago firm that's doing this, and basically that loan is going to face. It's like the housing crisis. It's good. These shops are going to open up and be out of business within a year or two. They say, well, they'll make money. I said, yeah, but they're going to have to pay the loans back. They're going to be barely scraping money out there to pay their rent, to pay for food, to help their families and stuff like that. Don't listen to what the media puts out there and tells them and says, well, everything's fine, we're okay in a situation. No, it's not. It's not.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently. That's okay. Things are going to be okay.
These are political hack jobs, especially in an election year, where they're trying to get your vote. When you go to that voter's booth, remember this video. Remember what I say to you. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but think before you hit that lever. Don't mail it in. Don't let someone take it from you. Go vote yourself. Think of what has happened, where we are right now. We had that other video, the horror stories on 8th Avenue. We've talked about the illegal cannabis. We've talked about the prostitution in Roosevelt Avenue. Who has caused this rupture in New York City? Think about that. Don't hate the other candidates because you believe that, what people saying, well, they're going to take away your rights and stuff like that. They're already taking away your rights. It's already taken away by these people here. It's time for a change. It's time for, and I say this, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm just an American citizen. It's about time that this state finally flipped. It's about time. Could it be better with under a Republican situation? I don't know. It's about time we try. It's about time we put people in office that we send to do the job, not to further their own interest and what goes into their pocket. So tell me in the comments below your thoughts about this. I want to hear from you, especially those of you from the New York area, but everyone can comment on there and tell me how you feel on that. Don't forget to hit that like, share this video, it's very important that you do, and hopefully today's the day I've earned your subscription. Be sure to stay tuned for the little segment afterwards to tell you how you can, besides subscribing, how you can help support this channel. We do appreciate it. Thank you for your support. We will see you on the next video. Bye-bye now.
Thanks for watching, commenting, and sharing this video. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe as this helps the reach of this channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have the ability to help support this channel as new internet laws around the world will diminish our reach and affect our sponsors. If you choose to help, there are two ways listed in the description below. The first link will lead you to a pay site where you can make a monetary donation. The second will lead you to our gear shop where you can buy shirts, mugs, and other gear. Discounts will be listed on the site. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.